ให้ด้วยค่ะ
Hey guys. Hello everyone. My slides up yet? Okay. First of all, it's my pleasure to be here. It's such a cool event that you guys have going on from different city to city. I really wish that we could do this in Vietnam, and perhaps we can collaborate on maybe digital Southeast Asia or something. All right, so hello again. My name is Nghiem. Right now, I'm the CEO at Startup Hub for Investment, Education, and Leadership Development. So we call ourselves Shield, as a Marvel Shield. So a little bit my background. So I grew up in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. I went to Malaysia for school, and then went to US again. I studied abroad for 7 years. I came back last year. I started a startup in US, went back home to build it, and failed. And then I took that purpose that, okay, if I fail here, I might as well build something to help other founders to build better startups. So at Shield, our mission is very simple: build startup ecosystem. With what? Okay, we focusing a lot on education, so we organize a lot of events and trainings for founders as well as their teams. We do connections, which is we are the center of the startup ecosystem. We work with NGO, with the government, with different other communities. So if you need anything in Vietnam, we can make introduction. We can introduce you to investor, angel group, VCs. We also an event organizer, so we collaborate to build Saigon Tech Startup Fest with one of your startup get links and we also help them to expand to Vietnam. So my topic today is building Vietnam startup ecosystem. So Ho Chi Minh City is one of the most vibrant ecosystem in Vietnam. So I hope what we've been doing in Ho Chi Minh will somehow give you some clues to help you guys building in Khonkaen. It's my first time here, and it's very great to see a lot of people here start interesting about startup. So the lesson we have learned in startup ecosystem in Vietnam is 3 things. So at first, we have to equip founders with the right mindset and skills. The second is we have to train more tech talents. What I mean by talents here is not only developer, not only coder, but also digital marketer and designer. How to get them to a better skill and knowledge so they can go back and help their startups. And then the third thing is create more awareness in the society. So I'm going to go in. The first thing is whatever we do, we always keep this in mind. Is founder oriented. Whatever we do, we have to focus in the founders. You know, founders here is a person who runs a startup. The reason why we don't focus in startups is because it's a company. A lot of complicated things happening behind a company. So we focusing whatever we can, whatever resources we have into the founders. Because you can't build a great startup with just an okay founders. You know, if they don't have the drive, they don't have the passion, they don't have the purpose, you can't build a great startup out of them. So by helping the founders, first, we inspire them with mindset. So I came back. So lucky for me, I studied abroad, and I got exposed to entrepreneurship in US. And it's a different culture. When I came back to Vietnam, they speak not very good English, so it's pretty hard to communicate with investor, but also their mindset is not there yet for an investor to interested in investing in them. For example, in Vietnam, when they have an idea, they don't want to share. They keep it, and they will whisper for you to use that, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell anybody. So if, and then whenever they go talk to investor, they tell them, hey, let's sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So this kind of mindset wouldn't last. So first, we instead of talking a lot about successful stories, we try to bring lots of failure stories to educate founders with the right mindset. Is that if you have something, you go out and talk to people and validate that idea. Does that work or not? You go talk to investor. Basically, you have to give first in order to get something back later. Pay it forward culture. So that's a mindset that we try to embrace in founder community in Vietnam. Train them with a skill. So if you are aware of, so founders, basically you have to start with nothing, zero resources. That's what we call bootstrap. So we know nothing, we have nothing, and then we have to learn doing it. So the skill is very important. For example, I'm a designer, but I'm not a developer. For me to build my first startup, I was building a platform to enable young people to travel and make money at the same time. So for me to step into coding, I have to learn. And then it took me about 6 months to actually learn basic stuff about coding and start coding. And then later on, another founder told me, hey, you can just go into the website, and as a designer, you can just plug and play with it until you have a website. So train them with skill. I mean, not only put them in a classroom, because it's not going to work for founders. They're too busy to do their own things. But put them in the environment with skillful people in other industry, so they can teach each other faster instead of putting them in a classroom. The third thing is provide them with mentorship. This is one of the things that we're not doing very well in Vietnam. We're not providing the founders with enough mentorship. I don't know about Thailand, but in Vietnam, we very traditional in a sense of we really value the professor. Then the professor, the lecturer is great, but they're coming from an academy background. So they learn a lot of stuff even though they have PhD, but some of them may never been out there to do any actual work. And with these types of professor, it's really hard for them to mentor a startup founder. So that being said, how can we bring experienced founders, those who've been there, done that, those who invested a lot in company, and go back and mentor those startup founders? That's what we try to bring in our startup ecosystem, because that something will provide them with more than just knowledge. It will be compassion, it will be empathy. For every journeys that startup founder takes, it's a different stories. And only founders and those who've been there and done that can feel the same compassion and pushing that limit. It's really hard for you to doing a lot of things and go to a professor and they tell you, so you're doing it the wrong way. It's not going to work. But if you go to an experienced founder, a seasoned entrepreneur, they will tell you, if you fail, just keep it together, get over it, and go doing it. So these are 3 things that we really passionate in helping founders because in innovation of a country. Because without these two things, we can't bring changes. We can't bring innovation for our country. It's also very important. A lot of founders came to me with say, "Hey, I want to find a CTO." Because you know why? Because they're not there yet. You know, university can have a lot of students study data and data science, but in order for them to be data scientists, it takes another maybe 10 years. So how to upskill tech talent into world-class level, right? So it's very important because engineers, marketer, designer are not equally talented. You know, some of them will be just the best, and some of them will be just average. But if we can embrace the mindset of entrepreneur and embrace it and tell them, hey, you know, if possible, you can just go to a startup and learn everything. And that will be easier for them to get faster and become more talented. Community size. So our job is how to bring them to a world-class knowledge. So from their side, we have to embrace the mindset of going out there and doing it. But then from the community side, we have to, okay, how to establish something that bringing expert, bringing seasoned entrepreneur, bringing people from different field and teach these young kids, right? The faster we do this, the faster the ecosystem gonna grow. Imagine a car is a startup and the founder is the one who's driving it. So if you imagine, if you can get that car faster with less fuel, that'd be amazing, right? So imagine this fuel is talent people. You can get a company go very fast and very strong with talented people, with a great founders. So this is why it's very important to help these engineers, marketer, designers to be better, to go very strong and very great, to get back and help with startups. The third thing is entrepreneurship awareness. This is, for Vietnam, the past year, it's very different because everybody talks about startup. Everyone. Even with the people that don't know anything about startup, they still asking people what is startup. I think it's good. The only thing that not good about it is creating a bubble. Because something, if you talk about it too much, it becomes something that people imagine that it's so big, but it's actually nothing in there. So bring awareness, not in a sense of, doing a lot of media PR about startup, about entrepreneurship, but actually doing something that let people see the value of entrepreneurship. Let people see that entrepreneurship and innovation is bringing some different in a country, in a GDP, in lifestyle people, in human brains, basically. So why we should bring more awareness? Well, it's simple. More talent lots of my friends. So I guess Vietnam is at a stage of a lot of people like me. And then people always, because basically comeback, it's a different culture that you willing to live. It's not just about the lifestyle, it's also about a career and your future. So people always, as you know, all my friends live in, and they always told me that, you know, you're so lucky now you can go to your company whatever you want. You're your own boss. Well, I work to midnight every day when they work 9 to 5. So the thing is, they bring more awareness, will bring out the transparency, the things that people usually. And then a lot of my friends start to interested in working for a startup. And I ask them why. I mean, you're working for a big four. Why my friend work at some e-commerce startup? And they say, well, it's fun. It has a good culture. I go to work, don't have to worry about my, gossips. I work with people that inspire me every day, and then I wake up, want to go to work. So this will enable talent willing to take the risk to making changes and create a future in a startup. I'm not going against a multinational company. I think it's a great work environment. A lot of pressure. A few of my team actually from multinational companies. And I see a lot of value in them. However, this put young millennials in a sense of where you want to be and what you want to become in the next 5 years. Or you want to stuck at the bank, work 9 to 5, or you want to be someone out there that making changes every day for the people you live with. And more parents will support their children's journey. To be honest, my parents still don't know what I'm doing. They have no idea. Sometimes I have to convince them, say, hey, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm still making a living. It's just some jobs that doesn't have the titles. And then bring awareness. I see a difference, right? National television start to producing TV series about startup, talking about this founders making this app. So my mom started saying, okay, I think that's what you're doing. So it's a relief. So and then I talked to a lot of startup founders about their stories. So some of them, their parents give them a year to do whatever they want. They say, why a year? Then my friend, she used to run a startup. It's called Huba, like the co-working space Huba. It's a networking app for event organizer. So basically, before you go into an event, you can actually connect with the one who also interested in that event. Her mom gave her a year to building a startup, and I say, why a year? Because she say, I have to go back and get a husband. I was like, okay. So I feel like there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of holdback from parents to give children, to give these founders a space, a room to grow and to make changes. And I think with more awareness, with more positive awareness about entrepreneurship, I think a lot of parents will eventually support them with maybe spirit, hopefully financial, because that will be a great bootstrapping for them. And then more awareness for the policymaker. I think you guys in Thailand, you guys doing a great job in this. I think this is something that we must learn from you guys, because we don't have this awesome space to doing this. We don't have the support from the government to host something like this in different cities. I think this is something that we must learn from you guys. Recently, our government have a law 292 say there are certain industry, if you don't have a license, we're gonna put you in jail. And then it kicked off as a hype about setting up a company in Singapore just to avoid this law. Well, I think if a policymaker really understand what we're struggling in founding a startup, building a business, then all the law and the legal that come out will support us instead of to control what they can manage. So I think it's really important to bring more awareness to entrepreneurship, because it's benefit, every part and pieces of the ecosystem. So last thing I want to say is entrepreneurship is about creating change, not just creating companies. And this from Mark Zuckerberg. So I just want to end this with his quote, because I really think entrepreneurship is not about having a startup. It's about what can your startup bring the value to the community, to the world, and what changes you make to make everybody around you a better life. So thank you. Any questions? Here's my contact and email. Thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope I can share some story from Vietnam, and I wish you Thailand will grow stronger and faster and bring a startup hub for the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much Mr. ดุกนิมนะคะขอบคุณค่ะ